We made a recent trip down to Texas to visit my mother and family down there for the 4th of July. And of course, I had to go down and visit the hardware store. And this has been in our family since 1932. It was started by my grandfather in his garage after he lost his job because of the Depression, and just kind of took it off from there. It's been in the same building since 1932, so about more than 91 years it's been in the same location. But as you can see, through every nook and cranny and step and hallway and shelf that they have, there's new things, old things, lots of dust, but it's a really interesting place to visit. So if you ever make it down to Paris, Texas, make sure you stop by here and add that to your must-see list. It really is one of a kind little store down there, and the largest hardware store in Northeast Texas. That's not a commercial place like Home Depot or Lowe's, any of those big name brand places. But if it exists, most likely Swaim Hardware has it, and if they don't have it in stock, they most likely can get it. So keep that in mind. I'll put a little bit of information down in the description that tells a lot more about the history of Swaim Hardware and how it came to be, and also information on how to visit them, where you can find them, in the description below. And now these next videos are of me. We stopped by Baker Creek or rareseeds.com on the way home. This wasn't planned. We just happened to see a billboard up on the highway and said, ooh, we got to stop there. So of course we pulled over and took the right exit, and first place we found was the Baker Creek, I guess, packing facility, and drove up to the gate and it said no visitors past this point. So I said that must be the wrong place, and so we went back and checked, and sure enough there was the official store place and it's called Bakersville Pioneer Village. But they had all their seeds in there, lots of teas, lots of neat little things that you could find on the shelves there. It was a quiet day when we were there. There were only a couple of other people in there, and the guy at the counter was quite friendly and helpful as we picked out our seeds and some coffee mugs and t-shirts and walked around the place. They did have some big fields and things you could walk around in, but it was just too hot that day for me to get out there and walk around in July. We'll plan another trip in the spring sometime when it's not so stinking hot to walk around outside and walk the grounds. But just seeds everywhere you turn around, just tons and tons of seeds. It's one last look through there. Here's some more teas that they had, and herbs that they had, bulk herbs that you could get, and soaps and canning supplies and basins and all kinds of things. It was a really interesting little place, and a nice little break from the long trek on 60. And here's some of the chickens that they just had up there. They had chickens all over the place and geese, but this was just one little cage that they had. That rooster was crowing at us when there. These were little bantam chickens of some sort. Then on the last part of the trip home, when we were coming back home, we decided to take the ferry across the Mississippi River. And this is at Dorena Hickman Ferry, and it's where you cross the Mississippi from Missouri back over to Kentucky. And I had never been on a ferry before like this, so it was a bucket list item and something we got knocked off there. And here's just a quick view around the ferry itself, and the two gentlemen that were running it were very nice and friendly and welcoming. He said, treat it just like you were at home. Use the porta potty if you need it. Do whatever you need to do. You can get in and out of your car. So we did, and we're looking across at some of the barges over there on the way home, and it moved quite fast to get across that river there. The river was calm and smooth that day, so it was quite nice and wasn't too hot, and there was the breeze coming off the river, so it made it a quite little comfortable trek. We waited for the ferry longer than the trip across the river took. So I think we waited about 30, 45 minutes for the ferry to get back over there to us. And then probably 15 minutes to get all the way across the river. But it was a nice little experience over there. And here in a minute, I don't know if you can see it, there'll be some white tall towers off to the right side of the screen, and they said that was a granary. And all up through the little channel that we ended up pulling in, which I didn't get on video, were little things like one of them was a gravel place, and one of them would look, I don't know what the other one was, but you could see where they load the barges or things onto the barges up in there, grain or gravel, or who knows what the other one was. I don't know. There was a lot of little things where they could pull up to in there. But the little place we go in is up there by that granary on the right. And then here we're right past the granary. The granary would be to the left, and it pulls us in this little channel, and he's going to pull up. There's those other things I was talking about, where they load gravel and whatnot at all those places, and there's several of them to the left that I don't show where they load different things.